So I saw Return to Silent Hill last night. The usher, when I was walking in, gave me this nice thematic postcard and said, "Enjoy the movie." Going in, I thought it was a nice souvenir to remember my experience watching this movie. After 2 hours of cinematic hell, I realized that it is actually a big band aid he wanted me to tear in two and hold against my ear holes to stop my brain from bleeding out. Ah, what a nightmarish experience. The audacity to call this a horror movie and the absolute arrogance to put the Konami and Silent Hill brand on this. Okay, so spoilers from here on out because I really hope and pray that you never gather up enough bad karma that you have to watch this movie. And also, it is important that you understand from the details just how bad this movie is. This guy James, who you spend eternity, these 2 hours with, is a painter who meets a girl named Mary on a road overlooking the town of Silent Hill. Right away, this movie starts pissing you off because James is wearing the worst hairpiece you have ever seen in your life. And I watch 90 Star Trek regularly. So you know how bad the toupee has to be for me to notice it? Why? Why does he need this toupee? In the Silent Hill game that this movie assaults and then steals the name of, James is a natural blonde. So they give him a toupee that makes him look worse and also has no connection to the actual game James. The scariest thing in this movie, by a mile, is that wig. It will confuse you and it will make you actively mad. So the love story, which is supposed to get you invested for the next 2 hours, from the time they start this first conversation to when they move in, live at Silent Hill and break up, is shown in the next 2 minutes. It's 2 minutes of the most hallmark romantic movie writing that you will hear. Sorry, I broke your suitcase. Can I be a gentleman and give you a ride to where you're going? Oh, a gentleman, huh? I thought they didn't make those anymore. These are 2 lines that you're supposed to believe that humans said to each other and then fell in love right away. It's like the writers never actually met or talked to other humans. They just have a concept of what romance is. Oh, romance involves funny banter, and I can only grip the audience on this love story in 2 minutes. Great, let me just use these lines and everyone will immediately root for this love forever. Clock it, because from this meet not cute to when James leaves is 2 minutes. Also, please don't clock it because that will need you to watch this movie. Please do not do that yourself. So in 2 minutes, the couple whose love story is better than Titanic breaks up and James and his hairpiece are downing bottles of alcohol. He then gets a letter from Mary telling him to come back to Silent Hill because something has happened. So emo hairpiece man starts walking towards Silent Hill and meets a lady in a graveyard who's very clearly Mary in a brunette wig. There is never any clever editing or camera cuts to hide her face. They don't use the fog around the graveyard to mask her face. Nothing. It's clearly Mary in a wig calling herself Angela. She tells him some creepy nonsense that I didn't care about because the whole time I was wondering if the director's wife really needed a job in this movie and her only talents were wigs. So he decided that all characters need wigs in this movie. Anyway, James walks into Silent Hill, having clearly said bye to Angela, who's clearly Mary. It's a fully empty town, and then he sees the most 2005 looking VFX, armless, faceless walkers coming toward him. No attempt to trap him or endanger him. They just walk toward him, and he sees them, and he runs, and they just leave him alone. Then some bugs come up from the ground, also awful looking, and 2D VFX. So it doesn't so much look like bugs, but it looks more like a bug-themed gift wrapping paper that is scrolling on the ground as he's running. There is also no attempt to make any of this scary because fuck you for wanting scares in a horror movie. And they stay clear of any fear-inducing moments by using very wide open locations and wide shots the whole time. Also, ironically, there is never a single moment of silence in this movie. Every single moment that is supposed to scare you is filled with an annoying humming score. Anyway, Toupee Man runs into our apartment complex, and it is also raining the whole time, by the way, but he does not get wet at all. Even his toupee is fully intact. Also, the rain is so amusing because I feel like where they shot this movie, the government said, "We can't let you have real water for rain for this piece of shit movie. It would be like pouring it down the drain." So they just used the rain VFX effect you can find in video editors. But it's not good VFX rain, it's just a film of rain. Oh god, this movie is so bad. When James comes to this apartment, you learn through Wikipedia-style flashbacks where everyone explains to James exactly what is happening in academic dialogue, that this is the apartment where James and Mary lived. He then hears someone throwing up, which is ironic because that is what I wanted to do at this point in the movie too. And he sees what is clearly chubby James in the same toupee. Then they walk around the corner and come up on a gate where we see this young girl, Laura, who absolutely does not look like Mary, whose painting is in James and Mary's apartment. You know, with her as a little girl and her slender man looking dad. No, sir. Because if this was the case, then anyone with half a brain would know by now that this whole movie is happening in James's head. So chubby James starts beating up James. And then here we go, Pyramid Head walks in, and because you're a human being that has hope, you hope by God that this is the big scare that will turn this movie around, and nope. James just runs into a bathroom stall where he sees Spider Lady. He hides and waits in there, and Pyramid Head just kills Spider Lady in 10 seconds. Then he turns towards James and he comes up to attack him. And then you see a crack in the mask showing that Pyramid Head is also James. And then James's head hurts. And then he wakes up outside Brookhaven Hospital. After all the marketing showing Pyramid Head, he is in this movie for, again, clock it, 2 minutes. Also, you know it is really bad filmmaking when to kill Spider Lady, PH, who has this badass sword, puts it aside and pounds on her like she's Play-Doh. Seriously. Having that sword and not using it, in the 2 minutes you have a character that you're going to see the entire marketing around, is the definition of wasted potential. Also the definition of wasted potential, this movie. Outside the hospital, James runs into blonde hairpiece Mary, who tells him her name is Maria. You know, a name that is so different from Mary that you have to be a genius to know that these are the same people. So they go into the hospital, and an absolutely boring mannequin nurses scene later, they end up in the toxicology unit where the little girl Laura takes James into a room with another Iron Maiden album cover monster with Mary's face. And now, the big reveal that nobody could have called 10 minutes into the movie, the monster touches James and boom! He wakes up in a mental hospital. This movie is happening in James's head. What? The real Mary died, but James cannot let her go. So you're in his head, watching him, trying to move on from her. They're all trapped inside his head. Did somebody try taking his wig off? That might help release all of them, right? If the world is still standing and you've not lost all sanity by now, you will check your watch and realize you're only 45 minutes into this movie. There is a whole hour left. And what you get in that hour is 2000s music video style montages of James back in Silent Hill, just watching one monster after another walk by him, not causing any scares, and leaving you more angry with every passing scene as he runs around with his pocket flashlight and keeps running into different versions of Mary who give him nonsense exposition that ultimately means nothing because you know it is inside a crazy person's head. Return to Silent Hill is like Shutter Island, but where they edit in the ending scene from the movie halfway into the movie, and then they show you the rest of the movie like nothing actually happened. I apologize to Shutter Island for using that movie's name as a reference anywhere near this movie. It's all montages for the next hour with elevator music and deleted scenes from Tools and Evanescence's music videos, but somehow even worse VFX. You learn that Mary was in a cult where people were worshipping her and drinking her blood, and our brave James learns of this, and his response to the love of his life being victimized is leaving her in that hell. Then she dies, and his guilt makes him go crazy, even though he never did anything to try to save her. They saved the good VFX for one scene, the final scene where Mary is supposed to look like a moth, and he says, "I'm sorry" to her, and she disappears. And there is a scene where they drive into the lake outside Silent Hill together and drown in his car, and then he wakes up on the same road where the movie begins. Inception, take a seat. Watch and learn how circular filmmaking is done. Return to Silent Hill is one of the worst cinematic experiences of my life. It is painful to watch and really makes you sad that in a world where video game adaptations like Fallout exist, there is still enough bureaucracy for complete amateurs to take an amazing game and turn it into horseshit. It really sucks because somebody will see this and this is the first Silent Hill anything they've seen, and they get turned off by it and never actually learn about the amazing games in this franchise. 1 out of 5 stars. And it is only for the director's wife, who made wigs for this movie, who I sincerely hope has found some career success making wigs. I watched Return to Silent Hill, so you don't have to.